Welcome back to Daytime. Well, I am here with Kitchener native Linda Blum, who has just written her first book, had it published, and is now in Chapters bookstores.
That's right.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. It's quite an accomplishment. It's taken me about 6 years to write this book, so
Really?
Another year to get it out in book form, so it's been a long process.
Yeah. Now, your family has quite the history in this area.
Yes, we do. I'm part of the Schneider clan.
Right.
Yeah, and I brought in the book that actually my great-grandfather, back in the day when they wrote books, they didn't have nice pictures like this, but this was the book actually my great-grandfather wrote. It's History of Kitchener, not just my family history, but a good genre of, you know, what was going on at the time.
Right.
And my great-aunt Miriam Sockwood, who was part of the Historical Society, published it, so...
Yeah, very nice.
And this book has been lent to so many of my son's teachers, because we've gone to the Schneider House. You know, grade schools usually go to the Schneider House on a continuous basis. So
right.
Yeah, so we've given the teachers an opportunity to kind of take a look at it and through it. And
I was reading too that the grandfather clock that sits there used to be in your
Yes,
living room.
and you know what? I brought some kind of comical pictures because my family had a sense of humor, and I don't know if you can zoom in, but this was it with the Beware a Dog sign. Because my dog always used to sleep in that chair, and somebody decided to put a Beware a Dog sign, you know, to make it look like my dog was like a real vicious dog. So yeah, so somebody in my family thought that was funny.
Yeah, and you had an uncle who used to do a show here on Rogers Television.
I think it was about 10 years ago, my uncle William Bruce Meyer actually used to do a call-in psychic show.
Wow.
Yeah, and I used to sit there and watch him, and my husband would be like, call in, and I'd be like, no, he's going to tell me I don't listen to him, and, you know, forget it. So I thought, I don't want the rest of the world to know how
Yeah.
I don't listen to my uncle.
Now, did you tie this in with your book? Because the vision has a lot of the clairvoyance and premonition.
Yeah, it does. I tend to kind of be like my uncle in some aspects, so I kind of threw some of things I've gone through into the book.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, they say, write what you know.
Yeah, write what you know.
Yeah.
And it's not something that, you know, I practice or follow. It kind of happens to me, so I thought I'd throw it in the book. Because nobody believed me, so I thought I'd throw it into a fiction book.
That's a good way to do it, I suppose.
Good way to do it, yeah.
Well, what inspired you to write the book?
I actually wrote another book before this book, and I kind of put it down, and just the one day, I just got this real wild idea for a book, and I just kind of went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the folks at home, why don't you give them a little teaser of what it's about?
The book's basically about a woman who had was murdered, and the murder went cold because nobody could find the murderer. And then 15 years later, the daughter is having dreams about the actual murder, and she's getting a lot of symbols in the dreams and everything else, and she's got to try to decipher these symbols because they all have a meaning. And so she feels like she's onto something, so she goes to the police, and the police are reluctant to do anything. And then, so her friend decides to take on the investigation themselves. So they steal police files, which I don't suggest anybody does. And they kind of bumble their way through trying to find the murderer. The catch to all this is the character is psychic along with her uncle, and they haven't been able to figure this out for 15 years. But now, all of a sudden, 15 years later, she's getting psychic impressions as to who the murderer is.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so she starts following this. And the whole idea with your picture here is all she tends to see is the green eyes.
Yeah, the green eyes is basically the only facial feature that she sees throughout this whole dream. And she knows it's a woman, so it's a green-eyed woman, and no other facial features.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, it's a fun read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a really good response, and not just from family and friends, but I've had a really good response. I've actually developed a little following because I'm actually writing a sequel also. So, you know, I was just out today at Tim Hortons getting a coffee, and somebody's like, have you got done your second book yet? And I'm like, I'm working on it, I'm working on it. So, yeah, so it's been really, it's good as an author, because you don't know when you write something how people are going to embrace it, and people are kind of, the one main comment I'm getting, which is funny, because I know the story like the back of my hand, is that I couldn't put the book down. One lady actually said she got to chapter 16 and finally had to put the book down. I'm like, really? You read it that long? Yeah, so, you know, because I didn't know I created like that, but that's the main kind of response I'm getting, is that people seem to find it suspenseful, so.
Yeah. No, and, well, obviously, and the folks at Chapters seem to think that you've got something there as well.
Yeah, and that's what made me confident enough to approach Chapters, is from what the readers are saying, you know what I mean? Because the readers seem to like it, so I thought, well, you know, if the readers like it, I'd like to get it more, you know, widespread and see if other people could enjoy it. Because I'm a book reader, so I love to read. I just love books. Right. Yeah, so if you go onto my website, too, which is www.lindablum.ca, I put the first 3 chapters on just so that people could kind of get a feel for the book and decide, you know, if they like the book. That's a nice idea. Yeah, you know. Because I have to realize that some people may not like my book. No. But you know what I mean, just to get a feel.
Yeah.
Where if it's the type of story that you're going to like. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But you're also doing some book signings, are you not?
Yes, I'm doing a book signing actually tomorrow at the chapters in Kitchener from 2 to 4. I'm also in Waterloo chapters on May 24th from 2 to 4, and my book is in the Toronto Book Expo, which I'm really excited about,
Wow.
June 15th to 16th, and it's under the title Showcase. And there's actually a website at newtitleshowcase.com where my book is currently being listed. So I'm really excited about how this is developing and how it's going. It's been a long haul, but you know, it's a slow process, you know,
Right,
to get
right.
things going. So, yeah.
And is it a full-time job now?
It
doing
is.
writing?
I'm a writer slash housewife slash mother slash wife. So I try to wrap everything all into one. My husband is my avid supporter. He was the only one who knew about the story. He was the one who said, I think you got something, honey, let's go with it. It took me 6 years basically because my husband decided to go back to school and re-educate himself, so I supported him while he was going to school. And now he's supporting me, you know.
Very good.
So yeah, so it's, you know, it's been good. It's been hard to sit at home though after working in the workforce for 20 years. You still feel like you should be out there working. So, you know, I've been off for the last few years just concentrating on writing and promoting. So every once in a while I still feel like I should be out there working. You know what I mean? But yeah, my husband just keeps saying, right.
And you're into the sequel already?
I'm into the sequel already. I'm on page like 249. So for those people out there, I'm working on it. It hopefully won't take me 6 years.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I hope it does very well for you, and look forward to the sequel.
Yeah, well, that's good.
All right. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right. Come on back. We'll have more Daytime after this.